Hello, everyone.
Welcome back to Benno Nate, folks. This is obviously, season 5. Everyone, let's get a clap up for that. Come
Season
on
5,
now.
episode 2.
And in this episode, we're going to be talking about the wonderful films. There's been a couple good ones recently that I feel like it's good to talk about. We could even go back, talk about some classics. It's going with the wind takes us. But obviously, I have a select few that I've written down that I really want to talk about with you. Ben, do you also have some that you would like to talk about with the audience?
Yeah, I do actually. You see, I'm quite the fan of the movie Ghostbusters from 1984.
Oh, yes.
And I have had some strong opinions. Same with the rest of the crew that loves Ghostbusters just as much as I do. And so there's been talks about whether or not people like the new Ghostbuster movies coming out. Stuff like the ones with the kids in it, the ones with the women in it. Basically all the modern ones except for Ghostbusters 1 and 2. And
I've only ever watched Ghostbusters 1, 2, and the female one. I never saw that new one with the children.
Oh, there's 2 new ones with the kids now.
I didn't even know that.
My personal rating, I have to say the women one, and I'm not saying this because they're women. All right, I'll get this very clear here. It's because of the writing. The writing was awful. All right, those actors, they're pretty good actors. I like them, but the writing is just woof. And the culture war behind it at the time was even worse for some reason. Like, why are we arguing about Ghostbusters? It's so unserious.
Yeah.
That's an interesting reaction from the crowd. Honestly, I have no clue why they did that.
What was I gonna say? I mean, I enjoy Ghostbusters. I haven't actually, it's funny, I haven't seen it in a while, but from what I remember, I enjoyed it. I really liked the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. I used to have a figure of him, a classic figure. I think it was made like in the 80s for like the toy line or something. So that was really cool.
Wow.
Just, it's a classic, movie. Like, you can't go wrong with it. It's simple, but it's not simple to where it's like, you're watching it and you're just like, oh, you're bored out of your mind.
Dead,
but
yeah.
It's good. They knew what they were doing. I know the second movie, some people have, different views on. Again,
I personally love the second movie.
I
think it's great. I think the second movie is great.
From what I remember, I enjoyed it. I liked the scene. I know this is like the opening, so it's kind of, redundant to say this, I guess. But I really like when they're in like the courtroom and they've got the 2 ghosts in like the electric chair and stuff.
The Scoleri brothers. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, there are really good scenes in there. The only scenes I don't really like is the baby scenes, but that was to afford the plot.
I don't even remember those. Nope.
You said that you had some movies you wanted to touch on, right, Nate? What movies did you want to touch on?
I'll talk about I have a couple, like I said, obviously, but I'll talk about the most recent one I watched. I watched this yesterday, actually. It's called Predator: Killer of Killers, and it just came out. It's on Hulu. I bet you could probably find it somewhere else, but I watched it on Hulu, and it's part of the Predator series. The alien from space that hunts people. And that's honestly, I know it's a super basic series, but it's one of my favorites. And so I was really...
I have never seen any of the Predator movies at all. Not a single one.
As much as I like them, pretty much I could tell you the entire plot of all of them with just like one movie. Like, alien comes from space, super cool hunter, fights humans, then the alien dies, but they kill a bunch of humans. But the Predator series throughout the years have obviously it's taken place in like the future and in the past. And Predator Killer of Killers, what it does is it actually shows you 3 different eras. So you have the Viking era, feudal Japan, and then World War II. And you get
that
to
sounds
see how
really
different
cool.
predators like act in these. And so I wrote a little review when I watched it, and this will be spoiler free. I won't get too specific because I don't want to, in case someone's watching this and they haven't seen it, I don't want to ruin it. But yeah, I'll get into it. Overall, the animation, because this is animated. Most Predator films are live action, but this one was animated. It was really good. But the style, it kind of reminded me of like, Into the Spider-Verse a bit, but it felt like some scenes just came out like a little choppy. Like it wasn't as refined.
Mm-hmm.
But it was nothing too drastic to take you out of like the watching experience. Like I noticed it, but I wouldn't say like that ruined the film for me. And on that, note, some scenes also had like awkward jump cuts. Like I noticed it in the Viking era. Like it felt like some scenes were meant to have what is it, commercials in between them, because like of the way they jumped, it felt like you were meant to come back from commercial break, but it didn't have commercials. So I don't know if they designed the film to work with them or not, but for whatever reason, I didn't have commercials. But it's again just like the choppiness. It's nothing crazy to take me out of the film. Like I still enjoyed watching it. I noticed it, yes, but that wouldn't hinder anything. So I think that's fine. The film, most Predator films are like this, but the film is very gory. It's not distracting though, because like yes, there's blood, there's guts, people dying, but it's not all that it's about. Like that was one of my biggest. This is a hot film take of mine, but that was one of my biggest gripes about Terrifier. It was just like that whole
Gory
movie
for the sake of being
was
gory.
exactly like there's no plot. It was just gore,
That's what
and
I
I know
thought about
people
those
like
movies.
that.
I never
Like some
watched.
people like that. Oh,
I never watched any of the Terrifier movies, but from what I've heard, it's just like the whole reason why you would watch that movie is because you wanted to see the gore
yes,
scenes. But like, if you want to do, there are movies where there's good gore and also a good story. Like there's the Rob Zombie House of a Thousand Corpses like trilogy. There's like Nightmare on Elm Street, like uh Friday the
there's like
13th.
classic horror movies too,
Yeah,
and
classic movies.
that's a good point you're making. Like people need to. I see Terrifier. Listen, this is my own opinion, and if you like the movie, that's okay. But I see people glazing it online so much because they're like, "Oh my god, the director is so creative with the way he does the gore and all this." And it's like, first of all, the first movie was just all gore, not any plot. Then in the second movie, they try to do some plot, but it's dumb. Like
Also,
he
the plot that I heard of the movie where it's like he's like a demon clown and like he needs like what does he need, like a sacrifice or something to come back alive and stuff like that. It's just like
I'm
there
gonna give
was,
you a rundown.
go ahead, because like I remember like
Yeah,
there was a plot, but I remember when I heard it, it sounded stupid while I was listening to the plot.
this is obviously spoilers for Terrifier 2, but that shit came out in like 2021, so
So what have you been doing
I
with
think
your
you've
life?
had time. Yeah, pretty much. In the first Terrifier, he's just a dude who dresses like a clown and he's like super gory. Then he dies, and then Satan like pretty much just
I am
brings
the
him back to
demon
life.
from
And
the Bible.
yeah, he comes back now and he's like immortal and stuff. And it's this whole thing with, I don't even know the chick's name, but like the main character, I guess her dad like died, but
Elbozo.
her dad was an artist, and in his art he drew pictures of like Art the Clown being defeated by like this Viking woman. And then the chick just happens to dress as the Viking woman on Halloween, and she has like a sword, and then like somehow Art is in her dreams and stuff, and she defeats him with like the power of the sword, but
It
it
just
doesn't
sounds like
kill him.
they're
Like,
ripping off, like, it sounds like they watched it and Freddy Krueger and put it together. Like, that's what it sounds like.
I don't
Like,
know what they were doing.
come up
There's a
with an
third one.
interesting idea, maybe, instead of just there is a guy, he kills people, spooky.
Yeah, no. Everyone I talked with about this always like, oh my god, you suck, you blah blah blah, you don't understand film. I'm like, dude, I don't know
There's
what the fuck
nothing
you guys are watching.
Let me repeat this. There is nothing genius behind a slasher movie where the only thing about the movie that is different is that the clown is supernatural, because that has already happened. There's already a slasher movie. It was made back in the fucking
Yes.
80s. Can we please
Which, by the way,
be a little...
but all the people who say like, "Oh my God, Art the Clown is way better than like Pennywise or Killer Clowns from Outer Space," you're just
full of shit.
objectively wrong.
Yeah.
Like, that's not true, bro. Those guys wipe Art.
Like,
Um,
yeah, with a mop.
no, sorry to cut you off.
What honestly, because this is our next point, is what's the deal with these repeat movies? Like, to cycle back a little segue, Ghostbusters. It was originally released in the 80s, both movies, and then they revamped it 2016, revamped it again with the kids. And honestly, don't get me wrong, I love Ghostbusters, and if they're gonna keep making Ghostbusters movies, I'm gonna keep watching them. But get an original idea, like, especially Disney. Disney is the biggest culprit of this, where they have quote unquote live action remade every single one of their classics, and I think they just did like the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, their original movie, like that made them hit the scene.
It gets to a point because some reworks do work well. I know this isn't a movie, but Modern Warfare, the video game, it came out, it was good. Then they reworked it. They changed the graphics, fixed some things, added some new Easter eggs. Stuff like that works, and that's okay. Like, if they were to do that in film, like maybe re-release an older movie, but just like update it enough to where it's not as, I guess, bad quality.
Yeah.
But you just gotta come up with original ideas, like you said, from time to time, because you can't just keep producing sequels and then trilogies and then on and on and on. Like I know these classic movies have like Friday the 13th has so many movies, but I'm a big fan of that series, and I can say this with full confidence. All those movies are just repeats. He does the same stuff in every movie.
Group of people tries to kill Jason. Jason kills those people. And like, if you're looking for original ideas, you don't even really have to be too original. Like, for instance, like the Five Nights at Freddy's movie that came out. Everyone was so hyped about that movie. I remember I watched it opening night. And of course, it wasn't just like Five Nights at Freddy's the video game, but on theater. They told a story with it. And I think it was the novels that they based it on, if I'm correct. And
yeah, they took stuff from both like the games and novels, created like their own film lore.
And honestly, I mean, it did kind of have like the same lore as the games, but it was a very nice touch that they added everything in it. Like, everything that they added, I was fine with, and I'm definitely gonna show it to my kids when in the future, just to scare the hell out of them.
I've been a huge fan of the FNAF series, so try to get my kids on that.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I think another thing too. Don't get me wrong. There are good original movies. Like, take for example, this is a newer one. Sinners. Watched it. Absolutely loved it. And that's an original. Yes, while vampires and like mythology isn't like made for this movie, they took it, they did something unique with it, and they made a good film. I watched it and I enjoyed the shit out of it. The setting, the writing, they made a good film. And this one got popular. But there's so many other movies that do that format. They make a good original film, and people don't see it because it's not a sequel or something. They don't know what they're getting into. They don't want to take the risk. And I'm not trying to like victim blame or anything, but it's like some people need to take that risk. Like, you guys got to watch these original movies. This is the reason we're getting so much just like bullcrap
slop.
recycle.
Yeah. One good movie that I watched recently that was totally original, a total original idea. It was a horror movie. It's called Longlegs. I don't know if you've seen it, but
I have.
that movie was really good because it did an unconventional thing where it didn't show the bad guy until about like 3/4 of the movie into it, and he doesn't do anything to the person other than talk to the person. I'm not going to get full into the spoilers here, but like it's not like your typical killer movie where the killer is on the loose and you need to catch him because he's like constantly murdering people and he's looking to murder you still. There was like kind of a supernatural element to it, kind of not, but I love the like noir detective going after a killer, but it's still a horror vibe. Like, that was awesome. And honestly, I was like, my heart was palpitating in the theater seat while I was watching the interview. That was crazy.
Yeah, that was a good film.
That I really enjoyed that film. So obviously we have an oversaturation of these remake movies, and you know, Nate, I think we need to put our money where our mouth is, and we need to come up with an actual original idea for a movie. So, do you have any good ideas?
This is gonna be tough. Film has been going on for so long. Let's see.
Right.
Let's see here.
It doesn't have to be the best. It just has to be original. Remember, there's nothing perfect and nothing worse than what they've done.
What if we take a movie? It could be, I don't know, maybe like action or like a thriller, something somewhere along those lines. And you have the two main characters will be twins. Let's call one Jake and one David.
Okay.
David and Jake, they work together, and let's say they also work together like a big group of people, so that way like they have friends that know them well. Let's say
This is
they're
starting
like
to sound like Ocean's 11.
I've never seen Ocean's 11, so
okay. I feel like you might be getting dangerously close though.
Let's say they're like assassins or something, like the whole group, like they work, people can hire them and stuff. But let's say Jake and David are like super close. Yes, they're twins, they look identical, but like they have each other's backs. They love each other, man. They've been with them since the start. But then one day on a mission, something terrible happens. Jake passes and David feels like it's his fault. He feels like he's the reason Jake has died. And everyone in his, group tries to tell him, like, listen, man, it's not your fault. Like, it's sad that Jake died, but like you did everything you could. Like, you're a good brother, blah, blah, stuff like that. But David still just can't shake that feeling. And it gets to a point where David, every time he looks in the mirror, all he sees is Jake. He can't shake that feeling of him being the reason Jake is gone. And so what David does is David fucking deforms himself. Like, he purposely messes up his face to the point where he's like unrecognizable, but just so he doesn't have to look like Jake. And then we could maybe do some sort of action thing with that, where like everyone's trying to like, now he's like maybe evil and people are trying to stop him or something.
But did you just see a man walk across the stage?
No, don't think so. It might have been manager Phil. I know he's in the studio today.
Oh, okay. Well, would you like to hear my idea? I also made an idea I wrote it down right here.
I would love to hear it.
So, you've seen, the difference between like a family-friendly movie and like kind of a gory movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, my idea was this: to combine the two, to combine children's entertainment and like action entertainment for like adults. So like I thought of like a relationship of like a father-daughter type duo, kind of like Ellie and Joel from The Last of Us, where like
Okay.
the father would go off and do like a movie, and not like in universe, but in his movie, he's like, you know, an assassin, a hitman type guy, kind of like John Wick, and he's just like actually going in, murdering people and like shooting people, you know, completing a target like a hitman would, right? And then the daughter would have her own show, and in that show, like all of a sudden, it would be a seamless transition from the father figure like fighting some guy and like gets thrown out the window into her car, and then like there becomes the episode of them doing something else, and like the whole time like for the children it's like satirized and like not bad in any way, like the father figure is just a father in the show, but then the movie spin-offs are him getting into what his job is, which is being a hitman.
That's not bad. I could see that being like actually really fun to watch.
And like as she grows up, like maybe she'll become like a young adult, and like then she'll get her own movie where like she kind of gets introduced into her father's business, and then like they kind of form like a duo. And he's obviously going to be older because she's older.
That's really good.
That was my idea. I that's all I had. But
guys, we need to be hired by Hollywood right now. We need to get in the studio.
This just shows you if two people on a talk show can make two good, interesting movie ideas off the top of our heads, then what's stopping Hollywood? What's stopping these producers from making a good movie other than greedy money makers, probably?
Real.
Yeah. I want less capitalistic AI slop in my movies.
Oh my gosh, I hate AI.
No more slop. No more slop. I don't want any of it.
No, it's funny. We started this off with the Predator talk and then never even finished it, but that's all right. That's all right.
What are you calling Hollywood people predators?
Oh, no, I'm talking about like Predator the movie that I was talking about.
I thought like you're like, oh, we started off with Predators. Now we're talking about Hollywood.
No.
It's like
Hollywood still got those guys.
Yeah, Harvey Weinstein's already out of here, man.
Oh man. What was I gonna say? Yeah, no, go watch. Obviously, any film that we mentioned that was good or even bad. If
I'd like to shout out one more that I heard. I know Nate has heard of the term analog horror before, but many of the public probably hasn't heard of it. Okay, I think he just died over there. But there was a movie released. I think it was either Russian or like Finnish or so. It was some like funny European country, and it was called like Skinamarink or something like that.
Oh,
have you know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about?
I have. So I've never seen that film, but I have seen people talk about it. I saw a YouTuber that we both watch, folks. You should watch him too. Wendigoon. He uploaded a video about it, but I never watched the video.
I remember you
mentioned that.
The basic premise. The basic premise of the movie is like these two young kids. I think they're both brothers. They get trapped in their house. There's no doors or windows, and there's a demon, and it's trying to convince the kids to kill themselves. And that's a dark term for a movie to go with, but I like that. I feel like horror is so oversaturated with slashers and paranormal stuff like that. And like, sure, this is paranormal, this is demon, but this is a whole different subject. And usually horror, like the victims aren't kids. It's almost like an unspoken rule not to use kids, but
they stay away from them.
Art should, comfort the disturbed and disturb the comforted, and especially horror, in my opinion. If you're gonna do a horror movie, you should be going for disturbing. I'm not talking about like human centipede. Like, don't be disturbing for the sake of disturbing.
Yeah.
Be creative and like artistic with your disturbing peoples. But yeah,
That was really good.
I would like. I think we should wrap this up. Actually, I think that's the
Yeah.
time for this video, this episode.
What was I gonna say? Obviously, any movie, you're entitled to your own opinion. You might
No,
be
you're
watching
not.
this and you might like Terrifier. That might be one of your favorite movies. And while I will say that is very concerning
You
in the
have
grand scheme
poor
of
music,
things.
poor movie taste. That's your
Mhm.
own opinion to have that bad of a taste. That's all I have to say.
And that's all right, but it's good to have these conversations. It's good to even
Even
the
to hear
bad
the
ones.
wrong opinions out. Yeah.
It's good to care about such an important thing such as film. Like if film didn't exist, if film never got big, you folks would not be here. You folks would not be watching us right now.
Yeah.
We take things like this for so granted. Like you never really stop and think about like stuff like this. Honestly, I think I think you're right. This is a good way to end today's episode.
All right, I think enough dragging. Thank you all so much for watching this episode of the Ben O Nate Show, Season 5, Episode 2.
Hmm.
Going for 1,000
Wow.
more episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And we will see all of you on the next episode. Goodbye.
Goodbye, folks.